Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Mataji, please start recording.
Krishna 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 Hare
Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to our wonderful Gurudevs, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj and His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj and our wonderful Guru Parampara. Welcome to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily call. Today we have the good fortune and the privilege and the honor of welcoming one of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj's disciples, His Grace Kanchanabja Prabhu, who will kindly enlighten us on the very important, sensitive, deeply urgent topic of devotee care. Please accept my humble obeisances, Kanchanabja Prabhu. We welcome you to our group and you are part of our family now. So we are very excited to have you on board. And over to you now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay? Am I audible? Yeah,
Perfect.
great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mother Sri Devi. It's so nice to see you. Thank you for including me as part of your family. Guru Maharaj has been very kind to me. Ever since I met Candramauli Maharaj, he made me feel at home. And then when I met all his disciples, I felt even more at home. And now I just feel like I'm one of you. So thank you so much, especially Candramauli Maharaj for giving me unending mercy. Lots of special service, and yeah, he really lightened up a dark hole in my life. So I'm very grateful to Maharaj and very grateful to all of the God family for giving me a home in ISKCON within this God family. So thank you so much. I was feeling very empty when my spiritual master left his body and went back to the spiritual world, and I was thinking, where do I find myself in ISKCON? And Candramauli Maharaj and this wonderful group of Vaishnavas have really, really shone their mercy and light on me. And this is all, in my humble opinion, all the arrangements of my dear friend Jankinath Prabhu. I really feel he's looking after me from wherever he is in this special way. He's a very special soul, and he's someone who's really into devotee care. So I thought maybe it would be a nice idea that we could speak about this topic and maybe have some discussion on caring for devotees. So I'm just going to chant the Mangala Charan prayer quickly, and then maybe we can have some small discussion. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I was thinking of this topic, devotee care. Srimati Mataji messaged me last night saying, what topic? So this morning I was thinking about devotee care. And the reason I was thinking about devotee care is, I think over the years in ISKCON, I think the most wonderful experiences I've ever had is when I felt that devotees have cared for me. And I think I think all the distressing experiences I've ever had is when I felt devotees haven't cared for me. So for us to really function well in an institution, it's important we're cared for. And the problem with finding care for ourselves, or should I say, the problem with becoming anxious for care for ourselves, is when we are very single-minded about our own self. Then what tends to happen is our expectations are never met. We're always kind of, it's never enough, it's sochati and kankshati, whereas Krishna says we should be na sochati and na kankshati. We should be not lamenting and not hankering for our desires, or not worrying when our desires are not met. And one desire I think we all have is to feel connected. I think we joined ISKCON, or we are still in ISKCON, still in Prabhupada's movement, because we have a desire to connect with Srila Prabhupada. We have a desire to connect with Guru Maharaj. We have a desire to connect with Krishna. And because we have this desire to connect, we are here. It's inherent in us. The soul is. It said, isn't it? Even materially, the man is a social animal. We're all seeking connection with each other. And similarly, Prabhupada has mentioned that if we got the Brahma Jyoti realization or liberation, at some point we'd have to come back down because it's too boring, it's too lonely. What are we going to do on our own? We need some connection. So we're here, and we find ourselves in a community of devotees. When we first joined the movement, we just think everyone is a pure devotee. We just look around and think, oh my God, everyone's a pure devotee. Once we get that thing that this is for me, everyone's a pure devotee. Look at them all. Wow, I love this guy. Oh, look at her, she's amazing. Look at him, he's amazing. Oh my God, this is utopia. And then after some time, we get to know everyone, and we realize, okay, everyone is amazing, but we've all still got some sickness. That's why we're in this hospital. It's described, this ISKCON, our spiritual movement is described like a hospital, because we're unwell, so we came to this hospital to get better. And what happens in a hospital is you run into a lot of other patients, a lot of inpatients who are also not well. They might be feeling a bit better than us. They may have had their first or second operation, and now they're on their third or fourth operation. They're nearly there. We may have just come and we've got a little while to go. So we take guidance of the patients because the doctors and nurses, there's not so many of them. And when we get one, when we get the doctor or the nurse like Guru Maharaj, we want to really, really hang on, but the doctor has so many patients. So we have to then take guidance from the other patients who have been in this hospital for some time, who have had some guidance themselves, who have made some advancement with their disease, this disease of material allurement. So we seek the guidance of other devotees, and what happens sometimes is that devotees can let us down. That happens. Why? Because they're also a little bit sick. Us sadhakas, we are all on a journey, and generally our devotee friends, there's also sadhakas who are trying their best to progress in spiritual life. And now and again, every few months or every year, we'll get the association of Maharaj. He'll come to where we are, or we'll go to where he is, and we'll get some intense association, and that recharges us. It gives us some spiritual strength, because he drowns us in his love. When we were at the eco village, we just saw that he was just there, ready to give everyone time, happy to spend personal time with the devotees, and actually cared about us. You could see he wanted, when we were at the eco village, Candramauli Maharaj was just so keen that the devotees went to the Ayurvedic center to look after their health. He was so keen that devotees got some time to rest. He was so keen to see devotees explore the place, go to the Goshala, because he wanted everyone to have a good time. He wanted everyone to have a spiritually uplifting time, because inside his heart we can see that this doctor, this spiritual doctor, he really cares. He really cares. And when we come across someone who really cares, when we come across someone who engages us in service because he cares, that's the reason, because he knows it's good for us. It's just like when the doctor tells you go for some exercise, and you go for exercise because the doctor's told you. Similarly, when Maharaj says, here, do this service, it's because he cares about us. He knows that will be good for us. So when we get such service, or when we get such association, we know we're being cared for. And what happens when we're feeling cared for, we feel very inspired to practice our Krishna consciousness, to connect more with Krishna. And then when we are inspired and enlivened, we just can't help but spill over that love, spill over that energy, spill over that care, and give it to others around us. So we are all mercy cases. No Vaishnava is self-made. All Vaishnavas are the product of another Vaishnava's mercy. So we are mercy cases looking for the mercy of other Vaishnavas. And through that parampara, we will be able to make spiritual progress. We will be able to really, really work on these diseases, this disease of pride, of envy, of lust and anger and greed, all these diseases that are blocking us. They're blocking us from actually experiencing Krishna in our heart. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam, that we can experience him. We can experience him. We can direct perception of the self. We get to realize who we are if we practice this process. And if we do practice this process in a nice way, susukam tatam avyam, it's joyfully performed. It's a very joyful process. So why is it not joyful? It's not joyful if we're only looking at what's gone wrong for us. Why haven't devotees cared for me? Well, one reason that I'd like to put out there, which I've heard from other devotees, which is quite interesting, which really resonated with me, is this: that we've all come here with, and I know we don't like to talk so much about karma because we don't think we have any karma, we think everyone else does, but we've all come here with some karmic baggage. And what happens is, after we join the movement, slowly, our friendships, close friendships with those who are not devotees, they kind of wither away, right? They kind of wither away. We still have connection with them, maybe. We still have some sort of social relationship, but there's the depth kind of goes. And slowly our social interactions is more and more with devotees because we want to go to the temple more, we want to go to programs more, we want to do more service. And so what happens is our circle of friendships, our social circles, our social connections, they all become devotees. They all become devotees. But then we're hanging around with devotees, and then we've got some karmic baggage. And that karmic baggage is this adi bautika, adi atmika, we've got these different sufferings that we're meant to go through. And one of the sufferings we're meant to go through is suffering caused by other living entities. Now, which living entities can cause us suffering? Usually the ones we interact with, usually the ones we are with. So then it's going to come through the devotees. If there's no one, if we're not hanging out with anyone else, if we're not socially with anyone else, little things can come. But ultimately, if we're meant to get some sort of reaction like betrayal or mistrust, that's only going to come if we really trust someone. That's only going to come if we really give our heart to someone. If confidentiality is broken, that's only going to come who we're confidential with. Now, if after some years in spiritual practice, all we've done, all what we are now doing is being with devotees, the reactions are going to come via the devotees. That's how it's going to come, because how else, if we don't trust anyone else and we're meant to go through some betrayal, how else could that betrayal come to us unless it comes through devotees, if all we trust is devotees? So the thing we're trying to say, or we're trying to maybe speak on first is, yes, it's so important that we are cared for, but the more we try and meditate and become anxious about how we were not cared for, then we won't have the energy to care for anyone else. We will set ourselves up for trying to say this nicely. We'll set ourselves up for victimizing ourselves. We'll set ourselves up for being in a victim mentality. And when we're stuck in that mentality, it's very hard to snap out of it. It's very hard to snap out of it. Now, that's not to say that we haven't been hurt. That's not to say that we should just suppress ourselves. No, we shouldn't suppress ourselves. We must go and inquire confidentially from someone we trust. But we can't get stuck. Arjuna, when he was on the battlefield, he lost his son. Abhimanyu was killed. And he cried like anything. It's not that, oh, we're not the body, we're the soul. Krishna just told him this before the war started. He cried like anything. He wailed like a baby. He was like, this is my son. But then he didn't get stuck. The next day he went and did his service. Now, we're not saying the next day we have to do our service if we got a situation. We're not Arjuna yet, but we can try and cultivate our inner Arjuna. We can try and cultivate that resilience that, yes, I need to express my emotion. I am hurt. I need to go to someone I trust and express this difficulty, this pain I've gone through. And once we've expressed it and gone through it and been through the process of how it felt that this devotee hurt me, how it felt that this devotee didn't care for me, how I really had all my hopes in this personality and they have really let me down. Once we've expressed it, once we've processed it, once we've journaled and we've written, Mamanushmaram Yudhyacha, we must remember him and fight. We must remember Krishna and carry on with our service. We'll carry on with our mission. And our mission is to be part of Lord Chaitanya's mission to spread Krishna consciousness to every town and village. That's what he said. He said that this movement will go to every town and village. So the reality of this is that it's going to happen because the Lord has predicted it. If the Lord has predicted it, it means it's going to happen. So then it's just, do we want to be part of this or do we not want to be part of this? Right? Because it's going to happen anyway. It's not that if for example, I was asked to give this class today. If I didn't say yes, it's not that the class wouldn't happen. Someone else would do the class. So the mission is going to spread, services are going to get done, Krishna consciousness is going to boom over the golden age. We just need to make a choice whether we want to be part of that or whether we want to get stuck in our own self. Now, the next phase of really preaching and spreading Krishna consciousness is to care for devotees. Now, it's said that actually when we help someone else, we help ourselves. This is how spiritual life works. When you give something, you get more back. It's not like material life. If I gave you my phone, I no longer have a phone. That's material life. But if I give you Krishna, I get more of Krishna myself. If I give you care, I'll get more care myself. If I give you love, I'll get love. This is how Krishna conscious, this is how spirituality works. It works cyclically. It's depth. It's not just ding dong material life. I've got something up, down, up, down. No, it's cyclical in the sense you just go deeper and deeper into this relationship with the Lord. So if I care for other devotees, what's going to happen is Krishna is going to care for me more. If I give my time to devotees, then Krishna is going to arrange for devotees to give me time. What's really happening is, if we really think about it, that actually we are all here, still here, because some devotees have cared for us. And devotees will only stay if they are cared for. And if we get stuck on when we were not cared for, we will not have the energy to care for others. We just won't have it. So what we can do is make a real effort to love and care for the devotees. It's said that when someone new joins ISKCON, this is a saying in India, Sri Devi Mataji might know, it's a saying in India, when someone new joins ISKCON, we give them fried pakora. Oh, come here, take some fried pakora. This is the best prasadam. And then after some time, we fry them like pakora. It's like we put them into that oil and just fry them out themselves. So the problem is, the mission isn't just to get new people. The mission is you get the new people and you boil the milk, as Prabhupada would say. Boil the milk means you keep them in Krishna consciousness. You care for the devotees. Krishna showed it himself. When he was on the battlefield, Arjuna said to him, Chanchalam, Himana Krishna, oh Krishna, this mind is crazy. Vayoriva sadushkaram. This mind is more difficult to control than the wind. Vayoriva sadushkaram, more difficult to control than the wind. What did Krishna do next? We know what Krishna said. We know Krishna said, with practice and detachment, it can happen. But before he said that, he said, Asham Shayam Mahabaho, Manoduni Graham Chalam. He says to Arjuna that, yes, Arjuna, I agree with you. It is very difficult to control the mind. I agree with you. It's undoubtedly very difficult to control this restless mind. What is Krishna doing? Krishna is showing us the art of active listening. When someone gives us the problem, if we want to care for devotees, it's a really important thing that devotees feel heard. How many times have we spoken our heart to a devotee, hoping for some love and care, and they give you a response which has got nothing to do with what you shared? It's just to do with their own agenda. It's like once I remember going to a devotee saying, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, this devotee, this is how they've hurt me. And I didn't know that this devotee had also hurt them. And then it became, oh my God, really? He did that to you? He did this to me too. We should do this. We should do that. Actually, let's just call the police. This is just, and I was just like, I just wanted to come and just reveal my heart to you. But then it didn't become, why? And didn't become about me. It became about their agenda. So when someone comes to us, what's really important is first we understand that they've come to us, which means that we need to think about them. We need to think about them, not think about us. Think about them. And what Krishna did is the first thing he did when Arjuna said, that my mind is restless, that my mind is obstinate, the mind is more difficult to control than the wind. Krishna said to Arjuna, Krishna empathized with Arjuna. Krishna said to Arjuna, he repeated back what he said and said, yes, Arjuna, the mind is undoubtedly very difficult to control and it is restless. I agree with you. He showed Arjuna he's listening to him. And then he said to Arjuna, Abhyasena tu konteya vairagyana chigriyate, that you can practice and you need to practice the process and become detached from all your anxieties in this fight. So this is a way Krishna's showing us how to care for devotees. This is how he cared for Arjuna. Can we repeat back, or can we do some, show good body language, show we're interested, not just like, yeah, sorry, Prabhu, yeah, 1 second, send the email, send the WhatsApp, ding, 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 no, thank, blah, 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 blah. And then, yeah, I agree with you, Prabhu, Hari Bol, Gauranga. You know, and, and yes, we can, actually, Prabhu, actually, you know what? You just need to chant. You need to chant. Yeah, we know the goal is to chant Hare Krishna. You know, we know the goal is to chant Hare Krishna. We know that Koli Kale Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar, that Krishna is descended in the form of his holy name. We know Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatir Anyata. There's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way. But we want to help devotees get there to the place where they can rely on the chanting. And if they can't, we need to help them. And we need to help ourselves. Like today, I'll be honest, today I was chanting my rounds in the morning. I woke up early, I was chanting my rounds, and I got to about round 14. Yeah, it was 14 because I still got the other 2 left. And I chanted 14 rounds, all in good, nice and early. And I was thinking, I'll just finish all my rounds and then I'll get on with other things. But I realized that by the end of my 14th round, I was getting a bit agitated. I was getting a bit, I don't know why, I was just getting agitated. I'm tired, 14 rounds, I've woken up early, everything, but I was feeling agitated. So then I thought, okay, rather than waiting for my 16 rounds to finish, I'm going to stop chanting now and I'm going to write, because I thought I'm going to do my journaling, because once my kids get up, I can't chant quietly and I can't write at all because they're everywhere. My kids are like wild, you know, they're like young and they just jump on my head. And then I realized that I needed to do the journaling because I needed to help myself. And I couldn't rely on the chanting to help with my agitated mind because I'm not quite at that level of purity and I don't want to go through I don't want to pretend. But after journaling, I felt more calm. And now I know when I go and chant my last 2 rounds, I'm in a better place. Now, I'm not trying to promote that there's anything else we should do except chanting Hare Krishna as the goal of life. What I'm trying to say is, one thing that's important is if we look after ourselves by making sure we have enough association with devotees, we have enough time for reflection, and we chant Hare Krishna, this will make us wholesome overall. Otherwise, what can happen is if we chant without having any association of devotees, if we don't do any self-reflection, we'll just try and spiritually bypass all our problems, and one day we'll blow up. It'll just happen, and then we'll end up blaming the chanting and thinking that the chanting doesn't work. We'll think the chanting doesn't work, but the chanting does work. It's just that sometimes it's just like if you're getting on an aeroplane, you can't just get on the aeroplane. You need a passport, you need a visa, you need a ticket. So similarly, when we're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna's invested himself in these names. But to get the best out of the chanting, we need to align ourselves in a way that we can experience Krishna through the holy name. And an amazing thing that we can do is really, really go deep within ourselves and try and understand why we are feeling the way we are feeling about anything. And if we can become self-aware, and if we know how to look after ourselves, we'll be able to tune into devotees and help them look after themselves. Because what can we do, really? A devotee will come and talk to us for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. We can't hold their hand. We're not going to say, come move in with me. But what we're trying to do is help devotees look after themselves. And how can they look after themselves? Please wake up early and chant Hare Krishna. Please start doing some self-reflection, journaling. please make sure you're getting association of devotees, not just me, one devotee, get association of different devotees, various devotees, because that will give us an all-round experience of Krishna consciousness. So caring for devotees is such a, it's a very important part of our spiritual life. It's very scientific in the sense that we've got to, it's like bridge preaching. Bridge preaching means you try and take them from where they are and you bring them to Krishna consciousness, whether it's through yoga or whether it's through art or whether it's through corporates or whatever it is. That's bridge preaching. Similarly, we're trying to help devotees become equipped so that they can face their problems with strength. And the way to help devotees face their problems with strength is encourage them, encourage devotees to reflect, encourage devotees to become more aware of how they're feeling, encourage devotees to express to senior trusted devotees. And through this, when they're finding spiritual strength, it is amazing how much we can do. It's amazing how much we'll be able to do for the mission. It's actually amazing. If you think about, I remember we were at the Eco Village and Guru Maharaj said, all my disciples should write to me once a month. And I was just thinking like, wow, who does that? Every day he goes on a Zoom call for his disciples, every single day. So who does that? You know, who does that? So there's someone who we have who really cares. He just really cares. And because he really cares, and we can feel that, we want to do something for the mission. We want to listen to what he says. And Guru Maharaj is so much into the holy name. He's so, and he's experiencing the holy name. And we're thinking, why aren't we experiencing what he's experiencing? Why can't we dance the way he dances? He's 75, I'm 41, I can't dance. I'll get tired in 2 minutes, and he's going and going hours. Why? He's experiencing something higher. He's experiencing something higher. And we can experience that also if we spend more time thinking about others. So think about others, think about how we can improve their Krishna consciousness, think about how we can care for other devotees, try and listen to devotees when they speak to us, try and actually listen to them, try to actually hear them without just thinking about how I'm going to respond. Just like hear them and show them that you're hearing them by maybe just reflecting what they're saying, summarize what they're saying, just show that you're in the conversation, good body language, be present, don't have the phone around. When devotees feel like they're cared for in this way, devotees feel empowered and devotees can do wonderful things. They'll do wonderful things. But if we ignore devotees, then they will feel that the devotees don't care. And if that happens enough by more than one devotee, then slowly they'll just start to think, actually, my karmi friends were nicer. And once they start thinking like that, the inevitable will happen. They'll stop chanting, they'll stop associating, they'll stop coming to programs. So maybe I'll conclude here that devotee care is a massive subject. It's huge and there's so many different things we can say. Sri Devi Mataji is a pioneer in caring for devotees. So we can obviously take guidance from her because she's a therapist, and naturally that means you have a lot of experience, Mataji, so we can obviously take your guidance. And I'd just like to beg forgiveness if I said anything too anything offensive or anything too rash. I know I can be a bit passionate sometimes, so please forgive me. And it'll be really nice to hear the reflections and of all of the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis on the call about this topic that's very, very important. Thank you so much. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Kanchanabja Prabhu. You have given such beautiful analogies and you've taken us such a nice journey describing how we are all in the hospital. We are at different stages of recovery and we need The patients, you know, you give such a beautiful example that the doctor may not have so much time because he has to see so many patients. So we all need each other, and how listening, really empathizing when people come to us. It's not about me, it's about them. And being there for people, getting out of that victim mentality sometimes when we are not receiving care, and trying to see the bigger picture, relying on self-reflection, chanting, and association. I love those three things which you said are really like, you know, the three pillars, you know, on which we need to base our Krishna consciousness. So you've given us a very nice overall picture of how we can actually improve ourselves first and then help others also. Thank you very much. Dear devotees, we have had such a beautiful class, giving so many practical examples and with a deep level of honesty. So we encourage you to share your reflections, your realizations. If you have any questions or doubts, please share those with us so that we can all learn from each other. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Thank you very much for that lecture. And thank you very much for people caring for the old and handicapped one. I'm so happy to know that you are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. So nice to see you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Tita Kiti Mataji.
Thank you,
Always
Sat.
wonderful to have you.
But you know, it's very nice knowing that there are people here caring. That is so nice. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Raj Prabhu, would you like to go ahead?
Thank you, Matthew. I have a question. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to all of the Vaishnavas. I have a question. Prabhu, you're talking about self-reflection. And I find that for me, self-reflection tends to be a bit random. It happens when it happens. Because, and obviously you need that quiet time away from others to be able to really do it, which also is often quite rare. But then I think I don't actually know how to do it. So are there some tools and techniques or tips to help you actually get in the right frame of mind and to do this?
Thank you, Raj Prabhu. I think so. One way of doing self-reflection is to do journaling, and there's a really nice YouTube class by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu on the power of journaling, which is just phenomenal. It's really amazing insight into how to journal, why to journal, everything about journaling, and I just think it's phenomenal the way he's presented it, and I'll send it out on the group. But journaling is such a wonderful way of understanding what we're feeling. It also is a wonderful way of kind of separating the intelligence, like, you know, the mind and the senses, and you have the intelligence and the ego. It's kind of, it's a nice way of separating them in a way that gives some distance. Otherwise you can just get a bit too caught up with what the mind is doing. The mind is here, the mind is there, the mind is everywhere, and then it just spins everywhere. But what can happen when we journal, then we engage our intelligence, and when we're engaging our intelligence, we can then kind of tell the mind what to do. And then when we can engage our intelligence spiritually by thinking about what it is that's hurting me, if something's hurting you, what it is that's inspiring you, what things went well today, what things didn't go well today. I think that what you do, to be honest, Raj, in terms of writing your poems, I think that's a really wonderful way of doing self-reflection, because you're doing it in a creative way, and that's also very, very inspiring. I think overall, self-reflection is aided by good association. Because if we have good association, then what happens naturally is devotees help us. I've always found that when I'm in good association, devotees just help me think of something else. Like I could go to a devotee and say, hey, should I go left or should I go right? And the devotee would say, actually, Kanchanabja, you should go in the middle. And I never even thought about going in the middle, but they give me, they tell me what this new option is in the middle. And it just sounds like, oh, actually, that's a good idea. So if we have good devotee association, what happens is then we are guided correctly. And then ultimately we have to make our own, we ultimately have to make our own decisions, and self-reflection helps that. Journaling is amazing because we write and it's like, it becomes very clear. It becomes very clear. Sometimes I'm writing, especially if I have an argument with my wife, I find that this is the best way of channeling that. So I write and I write and I write. And then afterwards it just becomes very clear on what I should have done. Sometimes you just need to vent, and it's better to vent writing on paper than shouting, because that way you're not hurting anyone. But sometimes it's really nice to actually, if we dig deep enough, we can really see what is it that I need to improve on. And if we're writing, it becomes very clear. So I think what you're doing already is amazing through your poems. I'm not sure if what anything I'm saying is helping, but I hope I will definitely send the YouTube class, and I think that will really help. Hope that's okay. Hare Krishna.
Yes, please do share the link, giving us the that YouTube channel of Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. That would be very nice for all of us to learn.
Yeah.
And Raj Prabhu's question, he's a creative artist. Artists are never known to keep a schedule. So it's like trying to get them, to conform to a schedule. So Raj Prabhu, I don't know how far you're going to go if you want to schedule. I think your outbursts of creativity and poetry are your self-reflection. So I'm happy with that.
Definitely. These poems are amazing self-reflection. Definitely.
Please go ahead. Sorry.
I was just reflecting on what you said, because I always used to think that the poet enabled me to understand how I'm feeling and ponder over it, but it never gave me the answers. But then I realized that last time I was with my mentor, he picked up from all the poetry, and from that he was able to advise me on what I should do.
Amazing.
Thank you for sharing that. Devotee Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu. My question is about, you mentioned, as we start doing bhakti, slowly our material relations will disappear from the mind, as we'll be interacting more with the devotees. And you also mentioned as we start interacting with the devotees, again, we'll experience the reactions from the devotees. And you explained about victim mentality, and we should not stuck over there. Could you please give more guidance so that we don't get stuck in there and start engaging more in service?
Thank you, Mataji. Nice to see you. So you're saying how, so when we get stuck in the victim, and when someone hurts us, and then we become maybe a bit over obsessed with how we're hurt, and we get stuck in that victim mentality, and how to get out of that. Did I hear you correctly? Is that your?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that this is something I mentioned earlier, which was, if we only think about ourselves, then we will get stuck. Like if that becomes our thing, my Krishna consciousness, my spiritual practice, my pain, my joy, my hurt, if everything is me, then actually we're not practicing Krishna consciousness. we're practicing me consciousness, and Krishna is just there to help me with my me consciousness. You know, the prayojan isn't Krishna, the prayojan is me, and Krishna, it's like the abhidaya and the prayojan is switched. The abhidaya is meant to be the process, and the goal is meant to be Krishna. And it's kind of like what's happening is that Krishna is the process and I'm the goal. You know, like we're changing it around. So rather than spending too long, telling ourselves that we have a right to be hurt, maybe we can spend more time thinking about, okay, I'm wounded, I'm hurt, what do I need to feel better? I need to speak to some devotees, I may even need to do something practical, but then after that, what am I going to do with my life? And what I'm going to do is I want to carry on and serve Srila Prabhupada, because that's what Guru Maharaj would want us to do. You know, from my little experience with him, what I've noticed is he wants us to get on with it. You know, like get on with our preaching, get on with our mission, get on with what we're doing. And if something is there and we're feeling stuck, it's because we're not allowing it. We're not allowing ourselves out. If we really think about it, we're not allowing ourselves to move on because we kind of want to stay there. And the reason we want to stay there is it gives us a sense of comfort. But that comfort isn't comforting. We're feeling some sense of comfort in having that right to be hurt. But it's not comforting, it's very painful. It's very, very painful. And if we understand Rake Krishna Mareke, Mare Krishna Rakeke, this has come to me by Krishna's sanction. He's allowed it to happen. And if Krishna has allowed this to happen, there must be something for me to learn from this, one, and there must be a way that Krishna wants me to react to this. So what does Krishna want me to learn? How does Krishna want me to react? Those two things. What does Krishna want me to learn? How does Krishna want me to react? And if we start thinking like this, there won't be time to become in the victim mentality. Victim mentality is actually, it's tamagun. It's mode of ignorance, if we really think about it. Because what is mode of ignorance? Mode of ignorance is, I'm going to ignore the truth. And the truth is, this has come from Krishna. Krishna has allowed this to happen. And if we don't want to be stuck, we have to go above the modes. So if we're in the victim mentality, can't get out of bed, we're really stuck in life, we just don't want to move out of the room, then go to mode of passion, get out the house, do something active, and then go to mode of goodness, be reflective, be introspective, be in nature, do the mode of goodness, and from mode of goodness, we're on the platform that we can practice our Krishna consciousness. So sometimes we might just have to push through the modes to get to mode of goodness, to then be able to practice Krishna consciousness properly. But if we remind ourselves that being a victim, it's Bhakti Tirtha says something really amazing. He says, worry is a poor substitute for proper loving action. I'll say it again. Worry is a poor substitute for proper loving action. So being over worried, over anxious, all these things, it's because we're not allowing ourselves to do something amazing. I hope that makes sense, Mataji. I hope that helps.
Yes. Yeah, very nice. I like that you said learn and react. That is a good way to deal with the situations. Always learn in every situation and how to react. So you have to calm our mind and you have to understand the situation and push ourselves to the modes. Like that you said, like sometimes go up to the passion where you can step out and do something else so we don't get stuck over there.
Yeah, and then go to goodness. And then,
Goodness.
yeah. Ultimately, even passion is not good because mode of passion will frustrate us. But it's still above tamagun. So we might need to just work through passion to get to goodness if the situation is very bad. but it's important to remember not to stop at passion, because that will also bring us back down to ignorance. But yeah, to work through passion, to go to goodness, it might be necessary at some cases. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. And
Thank
I mentioned about journaling. So will
Uh-huh.
journaling also help us like that, like writing
Oh,
down?
it's
Yeah.
amazing, because when we journal, we realize where it is that I could have helped the situation. It stops becoming, and if we can really journal with an open heart that Krishna is there, then we can really realize that actually there's something I can learn from this. There's something there for me. And when we're feeling like that victim, feeling stuck, journaling is also a very good way to vent out. Like sometimes if you want to vent out, you're like really like mad at someone for what they've done, and you write it, and you realize you don't need to go and say it to them. It's all come out. Just we've expressed it out, and we then, once we've vented, then what will happen through the writing is you end up going deeper to understand what it is in me that's making me feel this way. Like, what is it in me? The problem we generally have in the material world, and we bring this to our Krishna consciousness, is we always blame everyone else. Everything is everyone else's fault, but nothing's my fault. But actually, if we come to it, we wouldn't be hurt unless there was some trigger within us. If there wasn't something within us, we wouldn't even feel hurt. But it's because we've gone through something, we've experienced something that that makes us feel like. I can give you an example. So sometimes I feel I often felt when I was young, my parents kept comparing me to others, right? It's like, oh, this boy's doing so well in school, this boy, and not it wasn't in a malicious way. It was just like in a way to try. They actually wanted to motivate me to do better. But then what happened when I came into Krishna consciousness, I kept comparing myself to other devotees. And then like when a guru would come and they would get the attention or associated, I would think, oh, look, they're getting it, I'm not getting it. And then you realize actually that trigger is coming from me. It's not like they're doing anything wrong. But what we will do is we'll blame them, or we'll say, oh, they're actually fools. How are they getting that attention? How are they getting that service? And then we project our rubbish onto others. But when we're journaling, we can realize more and more and more what it is within us that's causing us to feel hurt, because someone else who went through the same experience as you would not feel hurt by what just happened, or maybe not as badly hurt by what happened. So actually there's something within us, there's a wound that hasn't been healed, and someone's touched wound, and if someone touches the wound, it really hurts, and you can't blame the person that touched it. Actually, we need to look at where the wound came from. Then when we can heal the wound, then if someone touches you, it doesn't matter. So journaling just helps find the wound, and when we find the wound, we can then heal the wound. Like Bhakti Chaitanya says, name it, face it, feel it, release it. Name it, face it, feel it, release it. When we can release it, then Hari Bol, you can say what you want to me. What does Prabodhananda Saraswati say? He says, if the whole world recognizes me, but Krishna doesn't recognize me, then what is the use of all that recognition I'm getting? And then he said, if the whole world is spitting at me, but Krishna is looking at me favorably, then who cares about that spitting? And then we can get to that place when we're here. Hope that makes sense.
Very practical suggestions. Thank you so much. I like the triggers, triggers really, it's very important to, once we stop getting those triggers, then we can be ourselves.
Yeah, we can be our real self. We
Yes.
can be our spiritual self, our real self, the self that just wants to serve Krishna, wants to serve Guru with no craziness in the mind. But yeah, it's important. Like you said, those triggers are, we say we want to become self-realized, and yes, self-realized means we want to realize who we really are. We're a soul. But until we realize all the anarthas and all our triggers and work on all of those, we're not going to be able to experience that inner self. So yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Such a nice question, such deep answers also by Kanchanabja Prabhu, giving a very holistic approach to the whole thing. Very, very nicely put together presentation, Kanchanabja Prabhu. Really appreciate all the hard work you have put in. Give us a very nice presentation. Thank you. So I don't see any more. Oh, I do see Scarlett Mataji. Go ahead, Scarlett Mataji.
Hare Krishna. You mentioned that there are things that we go through. Some has to do, or all has to do with karma. My question is, do children that they are 2 years, 3 years old, 4 years old, do they also have karma to pay in that age? Not when they are adult, but in the age of 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years old. Do they have karma to pay?
Thank you, Scarlett Mataji. Yeah, was your question, do they have karma to pay, or do they accumulate more karma when they're young?
No. Something happened to them. It could be different kind of things happen to them. Is it because of the karma that they are paying, or is it something else?
Yeah. See, it's really important we understand that this life is not the first life. We've been here life after life after life, and we're all born into very different situations. And we all, where we've taken birth and the family that we're born into is because that's what we desire and that's what we deserve. Ultimately, it's what we desire and what we deserve. So yeah, ultimately, where we are born and where we start off is a result of previous karma. That's how it starts off. So that's, yes, this is definitely the case. Otherwise, things wouldn't be fair. It would just be chance. If it wasn't karma, it would be chance. And it's not, and nothing happens by accident. But having said all of that, Mataji, I'd really like to emphasize how important it is that we are not the, we shouldn't look at it like that when it's anyone else. It's really important that we're in the mood of compassion. We're in the mood of giving love, and trying to help others. So for example, if a 4-year-old or 5-year-old has an accident and something happens, we can't just be very cold-hearted and, oh, that's their karma. So it's very important for us as devotees to understand our own, how we are going to understand our own Krishna consciousness and how we're going to deal with it and how we're going to look after others. And if we just label everything as their karma and other people's karma, then we'll never ever get a soft enough heart to help anyone. So what I wanted to say, and I know this is not what you were saying, but I just wanted to add this, which is that we should really think of others, like a Vaishnava, others' suffering as our own suffering. Param dukkha dukhi. A Vaishnava is, he sees another suffering as their own suffering. And yes, there is cause and effect, but that's not the way to help another devotee. The way it's when someone is suffering, the last thing they want to hear is about karma. When someone is suffering, what they need is a friend, what they need is guidance, what they need is love, what they need is someone is there for them. And then eventually they can work out for themselves that it's their karma. But that's not how we're going to approach them in terms of devotee care. But yeah, ultimately, in terms of if we're going to be philosophical and understanding, nothing happens by chance. And because nothing happens by chance, there is a reason for everything to happen. Does that make sense, Scarlett Mataji?
Somewhat, but it's okay. Thank you. My other things is, you mentioned about comparison to the movement to the hospital.
Yeah.
From my own experience, I'm just telling you from my own experience. I got operated first time when I told the doctor there is something wrong. I feel something is wrong. I shouldn't walk. Still, they didn't listen anyway. It led to that I got damaged in my back because of something he had missed. So I got 4 times operated in my back. What I see when I come to Krishna consciousness, the first thing it comes into my mind was he was puffed up and didn't believe that little patient who doesn't know anything. She has not studied. What could she know? And so on and so on. He was so puffed up that he didn't listen to me. And you don't believe, you're not going to believe it. 3 times happened. I asked him, next operation, again, I asked him, please, there is something wrong still. He didn't listen. And it shows up and it was something wrong. The 3rd time, again, I told him, please don't send me home. There is something wrong. When I come home, 1 month I was in the bed. I couldn't move anywhere. I cried the whole time. It turned out that it was broken. My back was broken. They sent me home with broken back. So what I mean is, why I'm telling you this, it's you're talking about hospital. When you go, you're going to get help from the doctors. Okay, this is the movement. And there are doctors that they are puffed up. There are doctors that they just cheated in their study and become the doctor. You understand what I mean? So when you compare this, so I just thinking, could it be the same thing in some case that some are very puffed up and do some mistakes and damage so much in the movement that it's difficult to trust. You understand what I mean? I don't want to go to the detail. I just give you example because you gave me the example of hospital, and then I thought this is a very good comparison. If you compare together, it's almost the same. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. So I think it's important that we find the right doctors in the movement.
Exactly.
And
How do we know the good doctor here? How do we can understand or find out? Now I'm so grateful. I have found the best doctor ever. It's Candramauli. So I am so grateful. But I know people that they are worried, that they question things, that they don't dare to trust. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a really important point, and thank you for raising it. And yeah, we've all heard what goes on. It's not exactly hidden. So I think the most important thing for us is, yeah, we have a good doctor. Take shelter of that doctor, because you know that doctor is not going to cheat you. You know that doctor is not going to break your back. You know that doctor is going to give you the best. And if someone else has another doctor that is hurt, that is not helping them, then you take them to a doctor that will, if you know one, and you do know one. So and how do we know a good doctor and you know, the thing is, we have to be very insightful. You know, like, what is that? What are they teaching me? Are they in line with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra? Are they telling me anything outside Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra? What is their nature like? What is their mood like? We can look at just like when you go to a doctor. If I was going to go to a doctor for an operation, we're going to find out, is that doctor any good? You know, and then what's that doctor's experience? So we do our diligence. So similarly, you can. It's like even when you find a guru, it's said that we should test the guru. It's not just that the guru tests the disciple also tests the guru. So we should test the doctor. And then once we know we've got a good doctor, then you're going to do what the doctor says, because you know the doctor is telling you what's best for you. And then when you do what the doctor says and you see your health getting better, you're inspired. So similarly, when you listen to a guru and you can see that your spiritual life is improving, then you're going to listen more and surrender more. Surrender is a process. It's not just one day you switched off and tomorrow you're going to be switched on to surrender. Surrender is an ongoing process. And the way to deepen your surrender day by day is to follow the advice of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And his advice is try and accept everything that's favorable for your Krishna consciousness and try and reject anything that's unfavorable for your Krishna consciousness. Do these two things on a daily basis. Think, I want to accept more that's favorable for me. And what might be favorable for you, Mataji, is going to be maybe different for what's favorable for me. So be understanding of what is going to be good for your Krishna consciousness and accept it. What is going to be unfavorable for your Krishna consciousness, reject it. And you won't be able to do it, like we just said, it's not an on button and an off button. Every day, accept more that's favorable and reject more that's unfavorable. And then we'll get to that place where we can listen to Krishna. When he says, Sarva Dhamman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, abandon everything and surrender unto me, we will be able to just say, yes, I surrender to you, Krishna. I will do your will. But it's a process. So just stick to these two things. Find the right doctor. Test the doctor, find the right doctor. Like you said yourself, you've got the best doctor here on this call every day when Candramauli Maharaj is here. So stick to that. Stick to him. He's great, and do what he says, and your spiritual health will improve.
The last thing I want to ask for your forgiveness that I don't have camera on, and it's because I don't have cover on my head, and I have lost all my hair, so that's why I should have cover when I meant, but I get headache of them, so that's why I have the camera off. So please forgive me for that.
No, Mataji, it's amazing that I don't log on to the call every day because of work and other things, but what I find amazing is that every day, whenever I log on, you're on the call. I just find that amazing. It's such dedication. So thank you for always being here, always asking sincere questions, and we can really tell that you really want to advance in your spiritual life, and I'm glad to be part of your journey. We all are.
Thank you very much.
I think we're all glad to be part of your journey. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kanchanabja Prabhu. Your grace, your humility, your kindness, your deep reflections, your deep study have all enriched us today. Thank you very much for a beautiful presentation. I cannot thank you enough. I think I would like to go back and listen to it all over again.
Thank you for your encouragement. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Nishinga Leela Mataji, for your nice message. Yeah, we are very fortunate to have Guru Maharaj every day available. And it's so amazing. Any topic you could ask him and he's available. It's better to take advantage now than think in 10 years time, why didn't I take advantage? This is
so true.
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you.
Oh yes, such a beautiful. Should I read it out so that everybody can hear it? It is a beautiful reflection. I was thinking how fortunate we are to have such a wonderful Guru Maharaj, who in this world or in ISKCON has an opportunity to participate in daily classes with a spiritual master, and who is available for any question or any topic. Jai Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
We are so fortunate. Thank you, Nishinga Leela, for reminding us, because sometimes we take everything for granted, and this is not something we should take for granted. So thank you for that beautiful reminder. So dear devotees, we have listened to such an empowering and deeply reflective class. And I think all of us have much to chew on and try and digest and assimilate it for our betterment. We have to thank His Grace Kanchanabja Prabhu for that. If you have no more questions, we will now wrap up the session today, and we will look eagerly for the next time Kanchanabja Prabhu will give us class. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very, very much for today's class.
Thank you, Mataji, and thank you, Sri Devi Mataji, for your kind words and your encouragement. I'm always looking to you for inspiration. Just seeing you while I was speaking was giving me a lot of enlivenment. So thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Kanchanabja Prabhuji. Thank you for coming up and giving us class. Very nice topic, and sorry I couldn't participate, but I was listening. Thank you so much. Please do come again to give class for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now with everyone's permission, and we will invite Kanchanabja Prabhu also, if he has time to stay on. We're going to talk a little bit. Actually, today we are not going to talk. You're going to have a very beautiful movie session. I'm going to actually show you videos of simple living, what it is like to build a simple mud house, what it is like to live without electricity, how to recycle, those kind of things. So it's not going to be me talking. It's going to be actually seeing how people are doing these things.
Mataji,
So,
first we'll stop recording and live.
okay. Okay.
Then we'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. That means stop recording to the cloud. Okay. Stop live stream also.
Yes, Mataji.
And
So do you want
we
this
stop
session
the-
to be recorded, or do we have to have next? So
I don't think we want to record it because it will be just uploading one more thing that people may or may not want to see. Those who are interested, they're on the call.
okay,
So,
okay. Yeah, you can share the videos later in the group
Rajna
also.
Leela is saying, please make a recording so that we can relish it. So maybe we should make a recording.
Okay, so then you start again. You stop live.